Alright fellas, we got some pretty awesome things happening today. First off, it's my birthday, and more importantly, it's also the day I show you how to play Celestial being optimally in Gundam Card Game. Well, until new set releases. Just like the Gundam 00 is powered by 2 GN drives, all you'll need to power this deck is 2 copies of the Celestial Drive structure deck. Let's do this. Let's start off with the units. For our level 2s, we are running 4 copies of the Gundam Kyrios Flight Mode. As a guy whose main deck in this game is Rush, my sole gripe with the Celestial Drive structure deck is that it doesn't come with any level 2 cost 1 2 starters, but this just isn't a Rush deck, and this is the next best thing. Let's be real here. With 3 damage, it can easily crack open your enemy's base, just like 2 cost 1 2s would. And with a cost of 2 level 2, you'd get it out in much the same fashion. That's it for the level 2s, on to our level 3s. 4 copies of Gundam Dynamas. 3/3 stat line, very solid, and more importantly, it's got a link. 4 copies of Gundam Virtue. Just like the Dynamas I just showed, it's also got 3/3 plus a link. But more importantly, if you have a pilot in play, this becomes a blocker, making it absolutely insane. Love this card. And that was it for the level 3s. Now on to our level 4s. Of course, 4 copies of Gundam Exia. Peep the release promo. The stat line on this is crazy. It's just like the Galgook from my Xeon deck. 4/3 with only a 2 cost. Like, if you draw this mid to late game, it's safe to say you're going to have the advantage. But that could not be more true for this next card. 4 copies of Gundam Dynamas, which I'm pretty sure is the main reason most of you picked up this structure deck in the first place. It can heal itself. It can snipe unrested units, and also it does get buffed with its link. So this humble 2/4 stat line does become an incredibly powerful, incredibly tanky, absolute Giga Chad of a Gundam. Once again, love this card. And now onto our level 5s. 4 copies of Gundam Exia. I don't know how controversial of a take this is, but the big Exia for me is just as important as the big Dynamis. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a massive Setsuna fan. It's a beat stick of like the highest regard, 4/4 stat line before pilot buffs, and also it lets you mill 2 and draw 1 if there's any Celestial beings in what you milled. Which of course there is, I mean you're playing a Celestial being deck. So like being able to like change the hierarchy of power on the field, and also change the card advantage you have, all with just 1 card plus 1 pilot, is beyond phenomenal. And I have won quite a few games just by being able to draw the Gundam Exia and its pilot Gundam. And now, one more level 5, which is Gundam Virtue. Funnily enough, the big Virtue isn't nearly as important as the little Virtue. It's not a blocker. But what it is a vanilla with a 5 AP. And I'm running this at 2 because it's not as important as like some of the other big boys in the deck. But like if your opponent's playing one of those pesky white blockers decks, having like one thing that deals 5 damage flat out can change the tide of battle in an instant. That is it for our units. Onto our pilots. Of course, 4 copies of Setsuna F. Seiei, aka Soren Ibrahim, aka Gundam. Once again, peep the release promo. Okay, I'll stop now. But yeah, what is there to say? 2/1 stat line, which is just awesome, especially because he links to your beat sticks. And he also either buffs himself or buffs everyone depending on what's on the field. Once again, awesome. Of course, we are running all 4 Gundam Meisters. It wouldn't be a Gundam 00 deck without all 4. So next up, 4 copies of Neil Delandi, aka Lokon Stratos I. Lokon is just as important as Setsuna. 1-2, so he does make his pretty tanky big dynamis even more tanky. And with some very, very epic link abilities. And now I got 1 Alleluia Haptism, best Gundam Meister by the way, and 1 Tieria Erda. These two aren't as important as their friends over here, which is why they're at 1, but they do link to some of the other units, and they have some pretty crazy pilot abilities. So yeah, I've got to run them at 1, because like I said, I want the whole team. Like, I love this series, I do want the whole team, and it actually works quite well, so yeah. That is it for our pilots, and speaking of having the whole team, onto the commands. 4 copies of Tactical Visionary featuring Sumeragi Lee Noriega herself. This is the best card in the deck. If you're playing a Celestial Being deck and you're not running this at 4, what are you doing? And of course, this is a purple deck, so we saw this coming. Fatal Strike, and I'm about to break my promise because peep the C+ from the mystery pack. Like I said, this isn't a rush deck. The early game can be a bit iffy if your opponent's going for that all gas no brakes like speedy get everything out build. So this can help you dominate the early game and also get rid of those annoying blockers. One of my favourite commands in the game, and this deck does have the space to run it at 4, so yep, we're doing that. And now 2 Armed Intervention. Very thematic choice for the deck, but also very powerful. I said that like Little Virtue becomes a blocker. No! Everybody becomes a blocker. I'm running this at 2 because any more and it gets a bit bricky. Like, you do actually need rested units for this to work, so drawing it early on, it's not exactly ideal. Plus, like I said, Exia is a draw power. Sumeragi here, she can draw you cards. Like, you will get to your 2 copies eventually. And that's saying bye to the commands. There is one thing left, the obligatory 4 bases, which are all Ptolemaios. Like I said, the whole team. And also, if you have Celestial Being units in play, it can't be damaged by smaller units, so it can make your grind game that much more powerful. And that is it for the 2 copies of Celestial Drive deck list. I hope this inspires you to play Celestial Being. I hope it inspires you to watch Gundam 00 if you haven't already. Watch it. And I hope you have a good day. See ya. Bye.